Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another class constructed gameplay with Arsenal Pass. So today we have Bravo versus Bolton. So this Bravo list, it's a little bit of a brew we've had here with the Arsenal Pass team. We took it to Road to Nationals here in Dallas, 62 player one. It went 4-2 and got 10th. Unfortunately, bubbled out, but still a very solid list and a good meta call for pretty much everything except Dash. Dash is a little bit hard. Until that one kind of cools down the meta, we have kind of moved back to chain. But this Bravo deck is extremely strong, and I do like a lot of the additions that have come in Monarch, which are included in this deck. So this deck is actually the first deck that we've done a detailed deck tech on in terms of like a sideboard guide, deck theory, deck ratios, math, all that good stuff. And that is on our Patreon. So if you're interested in that, it's patreon.com probably /Arsenal Pass. I don't know the actual URL.
It is.
I'm
Yeah.
sure if you search it,
It
I'm
is.
sure if you search it, you will find it. So to get into it, against Bolton, it's interesting because our deck is actually worse than 95+% of Bravo decks against Bolton that are out there. Mostly because we actually don't play many non-tech actions at all. We play Showtime and Stamp Authority, probably the two most impactful non-tech actions, and we don't play any others. The reason why is because we are running Yellow Zealous Bolting, and we are running Rousey Ancients. We want to be having those turned on as much as possible. And these non-tech actions, they're really just a non-bow with those cards. And obviously, we're not ultra teched for a Bolton matchup because I feel like we're decently favored against it anyway. So not too many non-attack actions. What you're going to see with the rest of the four cards I have laid out here, it's basically this is all about hand disruption and 5-card hand disruption, arsenal disruption. Because Bolton, I feel like almost more than any other class in the game, needs to string together 5-card hands and is extremely card hungry or hand hungry. So it doesn't like any disruption in his arsenal, in his hand, anything like that. So you got your red pummel, you got your disables, tucking that arsenal, command and conquer, blow the arsenal out, and crippling crush. Obviously, discarding 2 cards, even running out of crippling without dominate though. Can turn off a lot of Bolton scary turns because Bolton can do a lot of off of 2 cards I charge my soul, I kind of have my build turn. But if you're making it so they can't really have their 5-card pivot turn ever, you have a pretty good place as Bravo. With our armor, very, very standard, we do have the Arcanite Skull Cap, Tectonic Plating, Crater Fist, Iron Rod Legs. Pretty much all meant to block. Obviously, Tectonic Plating does make the Seismic. And then, of course, we are running Anathos. But, Hayden, with that, why don't you tell me about your Bolton deck?
I was just smiling because I feel like every time we talk about defensive packages and we start with Arcanite Skull Cap, it's just the standard equipment.
I was actually thinking that very recently. I think that maybe Arcanite Skull Cap is the most standard equipment in the entire game.
I think so now because of the chess changes. There's a lot more chess out there to be played. But anyway, I digress. I was actually also just chuckling because I just realized you're playing a baby Bravo. But that's okay. I'll let you start with 40 life, Brennan. I'll talk about the Bolton deck I've got here. So we featured a game with Bolton a couple of weeks ago against Chain. I know a few people were disappointed. The game didn't go, amazingly for Bolton, but to be honest, that is how that matchup can play it against Chain. Missing some charges and you don't get to race. Against the Bravo deck, so I'm taking a slightly different list to what I played last time. This is still a Jason Lai special, so shout out to Jason Lai from New Zealand, who is a player that I met at the Calling, who's a bit of a Bolton aficionado. This is his updated list from the last Road to Nationals that he top forward. A few changes with defense reactions and some of the ratios, but yeah, the key cards that are kind of coming in for us here was we've got the defense reaction package coming in, so we've got Steelblade Shunt, we've also got some Sink Belows and Soul Shields. And what we're going to try and do in this matchup is play more of a mid-range game, try and get some value, try and get our soul built up, and then we will try and find some of these hands that can really push damage when Brennan allows us to do that. I'm expecting Brennan to try and push some damage through, with crush effects, with pummels, with actually just throwing attacks at us to try and disrupt 5-card hands. So, it's going to be an advantage to us if Brennan doesn't, he has to place us on either defense reaction in Arsenal or maybe a relevant card for a 5-card hand, and then that comes down to what Brendan has to do. Lumina Ascension, not as relevant, I think, in this matchup as a lot of other matchups, where you can really have these mid-game burst turns. Lumina's probably going to be more of an in-game thing for us. What's going to be really important, though, is like Valiant Thrust and Via the Vanguards, these cards that allow us to just get value in the mid-game, maybe trade a offer take flight, like 1 soul card to go 3 wide or something, or to be able to like Valiant Thrust off a charge card for basically that card out of soul. And so cards like Bolt of Courage, Express Lightning, these are very important for us to play like 2-card hands into Brennan maybe when we're having to block out Hammer, because we can't just take a lot of damage, and we need to still be preserving our life and try and pick our spots. Yeah. In terms of equipment, pretty standard. We've got the Arcanite Skull Cap on our side. We've got the tunic, Brave Forge braces, blocks of 2, so really important for keeping out some of these crush effects, the ones that we care about, and then Snapdragon Scalers, which is going to help us on a key turn. Probably at the end of the game is where we want to be using that Snapdragon Scalers to set up a go wide turn that's not going to use our soul, because we might want it for Luminous Ascension or Cataclysm or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Brendan.
Yeah, Bolton's a pretty popular deck in the meta these days.
Yeah, it's definitely gained popularity over the last few weeks. We saw it put up some really good results through like week 2 especially. And week 3 saw more of it in the meta. It's still like a reasonable conversion rate. It's an interesting one. Like Bolton is one that I've played a bit in testing, but it's probably I would say probably now the hero I've played possibly the least. So I'm looking forward to this. I'll try not cock it up, as they say. Odd or even, Brendan?
I'll take odd.
All right, odd it is.
So, we don't want Bolton to charge a soul for free. We also don't want Bolton to play a 5-card hand. And we're playing Bravo. So we're probably going to go first. So we will go first.
Where you going?
Alrighty, good luck, Hayden.
Good luck.
You're going to need it. Oh, this is real interesting.
Go into it. Well, Brent's going to have a think. We're going to try and, hopefully not take damage and crush effects on turn 1. Otherwise, we're just going to look to, probably set up a 5-card hand, charge a card, maybe come with 2 attacks if we're afforded the luxury, but we'll just have to see what happens.
Yeah, I will create a Seismic, pitching Rouse, and pass.
Okay, so not letting us filter, fair enough. We'll pick up Tunic, and, our hand's okay.
I know that the comment section is a big fan of my patented Bravo sleeves. Samut, obviously the most notable and influential planeswalker of all of Magic the Gathering history.
The most important one for us is probably going to be...
I'm actually just a man who doesn't own many sleeves.
Clearly.
You don't like Samut? What the
I don't hate
this guy.
Don't hate him. Yeah, we're just going to come in with the Bolt of Courage here, charging this Battlefield Blitz.
Yeah, so Bolt of Courage is the draw. He's got 2 cards in hand. I'm probably just going to say no blocks to this.
Okay. No reactions. Take 3?
Yep, 37.
Yeah. Yeah, we would ideally like to go first, because this is like kind of not ideal situation. I'll draw a card. And then set Arsenal past you.
Sure. So this is go ahead, Hayden.
No, that's all right. I don't really have much else to say. It's all right.
So I want to talk you guys through. So I did pass, but I did have a Crippling Crush in hand. I could have dominated it. On turn 0 like that, Hayden would have just drawn up his cards. We would have gotten damage, but like I talked about at the beginning of this game, it's like damage is great, right? Like getting her through like the 7+ damage on that turn is fantastic, but disrupting his hand is much more reasonable. And by keeping 2 blues, not even swinging with Hammer, he didn't filter, and I was able to keep 2 blues in hand, so almost guaranteeing that I'll be able to dominate this Crippling Crush, even if I low roll my yellows and even reds. So we're gonna Seismic will pop, create a Seismic and Bravo. And then we will Crippling Crush, Dominated, Pitching, Debilitate, and Chokeslam.
Okay.
For 11.
Yeah. So we need to work out, like, do we care about this damage, basically? I think I kind of do, because I would like to charge here next turn, but if I just take the damage and lose 2 cards at random, first of all, we're going to be down to 29, which is a big chunk of health. We're already getting kind of far behind. And Brennan doesn't have another card that... you have a card left?
I do, sir.
Okay, that's kind of scary, the fact that like he can Arsenal card. No resources left though, right?
No resources left, that's correct.
But you do have a card. So if he does get another crush card, and then that's... So we do have the defense reaction, and there's a case made to keep it in case he does have something. But we would also... We only have 1 charge card, and if we lose that, it's kind of bad news bears for us. So I think instead we were going to go... have to use an equipment. That feels a bit. Yeah, already an interesting turn here. Otherwise, yeah, other option is go down to 29, lose 2 cards, come in for some damage or a charge. Try and keep bringing on the back foot from there. You also have to block with an equipment.
Definitely a very ideal start for us. I think that if Hayden didn't have the option of the defense reaction, he'd be in a pretty tough spot. So he does have an option to take it and go down, keep that defense reaction for maybe the follow-up spinal, which could be rough as well, or the follow-up crush.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, cover this one up.
Yeah, we'll block for 4 here, and then I'm going to play reactions, sink below.
Yeah.
And I am going to put a card on the bottom.
Figured that it might be a shunt there. But yeah, getting a card from hand is ideal because the shunt would have just been armor plus shunt, pitch.
So blocking 8, take 3.
Yep, take 3, down 37.
Yep.
I'm going to go ahead and pass and arsenal a card.
Yep. Cool. So we do keep our charge card, which is really important. So we'll just express lightning, charging this Valiant Thrust. I mean for 4. No, Tunica, sorry.
All good. We're going to go ahead and Fate Foreseen for 4.
Yep.
I'll leave. Let me think about that one.
Yeah. The other reason as well to play the defense reaction there and play that line is because we do have a card to Arsenal as well, because we get to keep the 3 card hand. And Sync actually lets us help cycle there, which is quite nice.
Yeah, we'll keep it on top.
Cool. Arsenal, pass to you.
Interesting. Okay. Seismic pops.
Okay.
Thinking through this one. Oops. There's definitely a line here, a weird one. There's like a very easy line. Just like the weird one does Crater Fist, which I haven't gotten any value out of blocking from yet.
Ooh, interesting.
Just taking my 7 up to 9 for the crush effect. Putting the arsenal on the bottom of your deck, but then that play just gets heavily punished by a defense reaction. So I won't play to it. And I know the top of my deck. So Seismic, pitching Buckling Blow, will Bravo, and they'll just play a blue disable for 7. 2 floating, no cards in hand.
Sorry, it's dominated.
Yeah, it's dominated.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think our ideal scenario is getting armor here. Our least ideal scenario is getting defense reaction. But if we do get defense reaction, it does kind of confirm that the Crater Fist would have been terrible. And that's why you don't go for it. Also, we wouldn't have been able to make the Seismic. So
I think this is an opportunity for us to push some pretty reasonable damage and build a soul here. We don't really care about our arsenal. I mean, it's good, but not worth throwing a card in equipment here. So we'll take 7 to 30.
Yeah, down to 30.
Yeah.
Arsenal goes on the bottom of your deck.
Yeah. Because this is a blue here as well, I'm inclined to take this damage. Yep. Tunic's going to tick up, and then we're immediately going to use the Tunic to play V. And I'm just going to charge 3 cards here. So 3 light cards, take flight, express lightning yellow, and cataclysm.
Okay.
I'm just going to put these off to the side. So yeah, so coming in for 6.
Coming in for 6, and then 6 again.
Presumably.
Yeah, presumably. Alright, I am just going to block for 3.
Yeah. So reactions 4. I'll give go again.
Yeah. And I'll be taking 4 as
well. Yeah. So yeah, Sir Bolton gives us the attack +1.
Yeah.
So down to 33.
Yes, sir.
And then we'll Raiden, since we charge this turn, 3 + 3, so 6 total.
27.
Okay. Yep. so this feels kind of good for us. We are playing this mid-range plan out. We've built our soul, which is really nice. We've also got through some damage, and Brennan now has 3-card hand. All right.
Okay, so seismic pops. Yep. I'll just run out of righteous cleansing for 10, pitching unmovable and choke slam.
That's fair enough.
Just raw damage. Honestly, like it's not insanely ideal. We did block 3 there, so say that this had been like a crippling. I know, right? If pigs could fly, but
I'd be a lot more scared. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, because it was like I don't think arsenaling the moveable is actually very good here. Because I want to be able to switch it out if I draw something like a rouse or something that's even like good. The immovable is kind of just a blue card here for us and not a super ideal one. So yeah, gonna run out the righteous for 10. Hate him. I mean, might take it. He's playing Bolton. He's also playing a 4-card hand, so he's pretty incentivized to block and then arsenal, but depends on his hand, of course.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting one, actually. So one of the key things here is that I'm most worried about Brendan having 5-card hands because that's much easier for him to crush me at that point, which then disrupts any sort of 5-card hands I might want to put together. And then the next thing I'm most considering is like just damage trading. So for instance, Brennan effectively blocked for 2 on that turn because it pumped my attack and coming in for 10. So it's effectively a 12-point, hand from Brennan. Which feels okay considering we came in for 12 and built a soul. So I just want to keep along those kind of lines. So I have a line where I could do something similar. Effectively kind of come out net on the cycle, which, I mean, it's okay.
Yeah, we've only got like 2 more cycles if we trade like this until we get towards like blocking territory. So my turn, like Hayden...
You still have equipment though.
Yeah, for sure. And you have somewhat equipment. But like Hayden understands that my turn is going to be play righteous cleansing. Next, likely draw cards. Maybe not block. Arsenal a card. Play out like six attack or so. Ideally not on-hit trigger. And then build the 5-card hand off of that. And then after those 2 cycles of the game, we will be into what should be considered the end game.
I'm gonna take the 10 here. We've got a line that I think is just gonna happen. This is where we get to the really cool webcam righteous cleansing.
Yeah, you can just look at it. So this is the funniest. This is the fun. Let me read it. So, yeah, you're on 20. So it says if righteous cleansing deals 4 or more damage to hero to a hero, look at the top 5 cards of their deck, banish 1 or more cards from among them with the same name, and put the rest on top of the deck and then yours. So. By reading this, Hayden actually can't look at them himself. But, of course...
we're playing face up.
Yeah.
So.
So we are going to burn the Celestial and then put... go Plunder Run.
Or it's...
Yeah. Well, but the Shunt at the bottom of those reds.
You get to... Yeah, sure. It's all on top, but... So Shunt's first.
Yeah.
And then how do you want them?
Just Plunder and then Express Valiant.
Okay. All right, and
Plunder on top, right?
Plunder on top. Sure. Plunder on top. Interesting.
Yeah, Plunder on top. Oh, because you might draw. Never mind. No. Plunder not on top.
I was like, he has this.
Thank you. Yeah. He's like Bolt of Courage, Arsenal Plunder on. Good. See, think about that. Was good. That's good thinking by Hayden there. I like that.
The advantage of your opponent knowing the righteous cleansing. Okay, our turn. We're going to take up Tunic. We will be. The most important one for us late game is this one. So I'm going to pitch a take flight to play a V, charging Express Lightning. So just charging 1 card, 1 light card. So coming in for 4, 1 resource up.
1 card in hand.
Correct. Yeah, 1 card in hand.
I'll take 4.
I have an attack reaction, so we'll get this going.
All good. Yep.
And then we will come in with Raiden for 4 as well.
Okay.
Sorry. So you took 4, so you're on 23, right?
23. Yeah, and then I'll block for 3 and take 2.
Yep, goes up to 5.
21.
I'm going to go again. Yeah.
Yep.
21. And then last resource, we're going to come in with Valiant Thrust. Jesus. For 7 total. 6 plus the 1 from... Sorry. Yeah, plus the 1 from V.
Yeah, so... This is pretty punishing for us.
Yeah, pretty tidy. 15 damage turn, taking the 10, and then we net out to 1 less charge, 1 less soul card. But
so it's how much total? Is it 7?
This is 7. Yeah.
Okay, I'll take the 7.
16 damage. Yeah. Okay, so
I
14?
really can't be. Yeah, I really can't be early blocking armor in case we see a Lumina. And I need to set up this turn anyway.
Yeah, so 3 plus 1. Yeah, exactly. Cool.
Alright, 20 plays 14.
Yep, 20 plays 14, exactly.
Sure. So I actually did keep my 3 cards in preparation for him to Arsenal because I figured he would try to play a 5-card hand here. Because he didn't, it's actually quite punching. I do have Command and Conquer. But that being said, I'm still going to create a Seismic, Crush Confidence, and then play out the Command and Conquer for 6.
Which is annoying
for Hayden.
because Brendan knows my hand. So he knows that
Yes.
I would ideally probably play the Steelblade Shunt, play a 2-card hand, Express Lightning charging, which is going to be very difficult when... Yeah, so...
Pretty happy we burned the Celestial, though, because that would be a good card. Ish, probably.
Well, yeah, I have 3 charge. I mean, I do need to take care of my soul at this point. It's pretty important. It's really
when I'm on 14, it's like a decent. I think it's a decent play.
Yeah, I agree. It could be pressure. So because Brendan knows my hand, we need to think about what Brendan's probably going to try and do with that information. So we play the game a little bit. So he knows that we've got the Plunder Run and the Steelblade Shunt, plus the charge card and the Valiant Thrust Red. Move this up a little bit just so we can talk about them. So one play is, we could just block out for 2 of these 3. Probably keep the Express Lightning, charge the other card, and have no Arsenal. Not so keen on that. We can also just block out for 3 with, say, a Valiant Thrust, and then we could charge Express Lightning, and then Arsenal one of these cards, which is the play I'm going to go for. The decision is just which card are we going to Arsenal. The fact that Brendan has a 5-card hand makes me want to Arsenal Steelblade Shunt, although our Tunic is actually only going up to 2 this turn, so it's a little bit less valuable. Whereas the Plunder Run could be a really big turn for us next turn. So if we have the Plunder Run plus, some attacks. I think because we have the Life Lead here, it's actually interesting. Since we have the Life Lead, it feels like maybe we should be a little bit safer and get the Steelblade in. We can just Steelblade on his turn, potentially come back, still just set up a turn. Yeah, it's a really interesting line, Brendan, I think, that we could go with here. We're going to block the Valiant Thrust.
Yep.
Take 3 to 17.
I'll pass an Arsenal.
Yeah. This actually feels like the most important decision for me in this game. Tunic up to 2, which is really interesting. It's basically what I put Brendan on. Do I think that's a defense reaction? Probably not, because he probably would have just... Would he have played it last turn? He did block with a Crippling Crush.
Did a defense reaction last? I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think it's a defense reaction. It feels like it's probably aggressive. It could be a pummel, and he's trying to set up pummel, in which case, like, Steelblade Shunt isn't even that exciting, to be honest.
Could rip the CNC off the top, so yeah.
I think...
Seen 1 Command and Conquer, 0 pummels, we see 1 crippling.
We're going to go for the aggressive play.
Okay.
We're going to charge the Steelblade Shunt. Coming for 4.
Okay. Coming in for 4.
Mm-hmm.
I have to decide to take this or not. So,
I'd love to hear thoughts and comments though about this play. I think it's really close around what people would do. They think that we're ahead enough for on a turn cycle that maybe just getting Steelblade Shunt in there as a bit of insurance is good. I mean, Tunic's at 2. Plunder Run not good enough to be sacrificing. What if he has Command and Conquer Pummel, right? So there's so many things that could happen.
It's relatively interesting for me. It's not interesting in terms of the line that I will be taking, but the line I'll be taking after that.
Right.
Very important. So we are just going to block the Skull Cap for 2. Sounds
Okay.
weird, but I don't think we're going to be able to do it again.
Get the value out of it. Yep, which is always good. You're walking that fine line of getting your value out of Skull Cap.
Yeah,
so down to 12?
Yep, down to 12. So I think that people will tempo block or kind of value block with Arcane Skull Cap way more than they should, especially in Hayden's Lumina turns are really bad for me, and his on-hit triggers are really bad for me. The Skull Cap is important. That being said, because I have Crippling Caution Arsenal, probably not going to be on lower life again.
Mm-hmm.
But so Hayden, it was a very interesting play to Arsenal the Plunder Run or Arsenal the Steelblade Shunt there.
Yeah.
because we think that they're like, if we look at this game, there's probably 2 turn cycles left in this game. So even if I do crippling crush you here, there's still 1 more turn.
Yeah, agree.
Unfortunately, because it's crippling. Like crippling is the worst thing because it's going to rip his hand.
It's the one I don't want to see.
Anything else that's raw damage, that Plunder Run is actually going to pay off, and he doesn't need the Steel Blade Shot. He only needs the Steel Blade Shot to really block against the crippling, because he even has armor. Your armor, so you have 3, 3, 6. So yeah, you can even block if you block through the tunic. You can even block the spinal, no pummel. And I actually do have commanding. Well, we'll talk about that later. But he could have gotten punished heavily for the Steel Blade as well. So Seismic will pop.
Yeah.
Create a Seismic, Bravo, and then we'll play Crippling Crush between Cartilage Crush, Cartilage Crush. So it's going to be 11 Dominate.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, this is obviously the scariest one. So the fact that Brennan also blocked with the Crippling made me feel a little bit less likely it was a little bit less likely that it was a Crippling, but not that much.
Statistically, right?
Yes, but not that much because of the way that he played it. I felt like it still could be Crippling, but it also could have been Spinal, and I wouldn't have cared that much about Spinal, to be honest. So we could have actually blocked it out using Tunic if we needed to. This one, on the other hand, is scary and is going to be very important in this game. So we can get to... Yeah, there's no way for me to block this out. So now it just becomes about what the next kind of play is, which... So we could... One of the nice things is that Plunder Run is going to allow us, if we keep an attack in our hand, to be able to play it and still give go again and come with Raiden, but we need it to be charged, so we only have 1 charge card in hand, so if that gets hit off the crippling, it's pretty bad. So just working through, like, what are the worst case scenarios if we lose. So there's 2 cards if we lose that our turn would actually be unplayable if we lost both of those. So for that reason, I think we actually have to block. Unfortunately, and the hand could still be unplayable, which really sucks. But yeah, crippling is actually a little bit disgusting.
Yeah, it's definitely a worst case scenario. In like statistically unlikely with their. I think I've been through like less than 20 cards in my deck, so do cripplings.
Yeah, just looking at like so. Plunder's actually, if I thought this through a bit more, Plunder's actually the worst card to have. And if I had forced to block, or my hand gets torn apart, because it's not really good unless you can guarantee you have the attack. So anyway, we're not going to defend. We're going to sink below, putting a card on the bottom.
Yep.
Okay. So we have basically there's 1 terrible card if we keep, and the other 2 are fine.
All right. Double left.
Okay, so it's Bolting Blade and yellow Bolt of Courage.
Okay. I'll move to end in Arsenal.
Sure, yeah.
You're at 10, by the way.
Yeah, I am. Yep, 10 plus 12. Tunic's going to go to 3. Yeah, I mean, hindsight's obviously a nice thing, but I am wishing that we had the Steel Blade. Yeah, we're just going to... It's kind of whether we want Brennan to block here or not. Whether we use the Plunder Run or we just come in with the attack out of hand. It's just damage. I think if we just come with an attack, Brennan takes it, probably turns off our Skull Cap, which is pretty bad for us. And then... Yeah, great. Okay, I think we need to Plunder on here.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll just yellow Bolt of Courage naked, coming for 5.
Think about my target here. Sink below.
Yep.
Sure. 5.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Seismic pops.
Mm-hmm.
I'll create another Seismic. Sure. Command and Conquer for 6. So I did have this Command and Conquer in hand, by the way, when he charged away the Steel Blade Shot.
You have 2 cards in hand?
Correct.
So, I mean, it smells like a pummel, right? It did feel like he was maybe digging for the extra blue to make sure he could play it with the Command and Conquer off the sink below. But I don't actually think we can really play around it, to be honest. We want to block with 1 card here. So we could, if we don't block with any, then we just die. Block with 1, we have a reasonable 3-card hand.
Yeah, this is, while that charge was definitely a key turn, this is probably the key turn of the game. Because he, like, on the pummel, it's not just the 10 damage, right? It also rips a card, so it's lethal, plus it'll take a card you can't play the 4 no matter what.
Yeah, I'll block for 3 with Battlefield Blitz Yellow.
Alright, I'll move to your actions.
Yeah.
I'll pass.
Okay.
3. Got 7.
Alright, well, it's the best case scenario for us. Did feel like there was either a dig for a pummel or... I mean, at the end of the day, like, just using the equipment is fine there. It's a 1 piece of equipment. And Brendan, if you find something that's pretty relevant, I mean, his hand could have just been bad, so...
Definitely was digging.
We will Tunic to play Take Flight, charging Bolt of Courage, so Take Flight red.
For 4?
I mean, for 4, yeah, with Go again.
I'll Fade for Scene.
Yep.
Bottom.
These 4 defense reactions have definitely been pretty clutch.
They've been nice. I just put 1 on the bottom if it makes you feel better.
Rate him for 3.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Sure. So down to 9?
Yep.
Okay. 9 plays 7. Set Arsenal and then pass to you.
Sure.
Yeah. Really interesting, this matchup. I wonder if maybe I should be trying to take this a little bit slower, just playing a bit more safe with the defense reactions. I know there's still a reasonable amount of my deck. I know that I've actually pitched my deck quite well as well through the early game. So, yeah, definitely some considerations to be had.
And 1 leaks. We're in an interesting spot ourselves. Sizer pops. Bravo. Pitching Stamp.
Okay.
Disable for 8.
Yellow disable for 8. 1 card in hand, no resources floating.
Yeah. So I assume that Hayden has an aggressive card in Arsenal, but I don't know. I think that we're just going to get armor here. He's got a very convenient armor block on this. So.
Yeah, my hand is actually a little bit awkward. This is a bit unfortunate.
Very close game, though.
100%
Despite,
very close, yeah.
Despite, we're seeing quite a few crippling crushes. It's very tight. I think ripping that Celestial was actually like the best thing that happened this game.
It's really interesting, right?
It's pretty funny because that was I was at 14, so we were like right at the threshold where that would have been a pain in the butt.
The equipment is what's really
for sure.
A pain right now.
The equipment is also what's really paining me as well, right?
You mean helping you?
No, your equipment, right? You have a very clean.
Oh yeah, that's true. It's frustration on both sides, I guess.
Just you have a clean dodge of the crush.
That's true. Yeah, so I think we need to...
I'm assuming you have Lumina, if you can play him on like equipment.
No. Well, maybe. This is for 8. I think... So there's a real decision about whether I want to get the value out of the skull cap now, or I think that I'll be able to get value out of it again. I think, because of the way this game could come down to it, I think it's more important that I keep it because of breakpoints. So I'm going to block for 5 and take 3 to 4.
Yep. Interesting. Would you have considered Skullcap plus Tunic?
I think there's a possibility that we might get around to the my Arsenal next turn might be relevant, so we'll see.
All right. Pass.
Cool.
Arsenal as well.
Yeah. Took up Tunic. Plunder on red. Funnily enough. And we will Bolt of Courage charging Steelblade Shunt blue. So coming in for 5. Which is important. It means that Brennan can't just throw straight up equipment at it, which is nice.
Yeah. This is true. So 5. No resources, right?
No resources, correct. Yeah.
Could run a Crater Fist plus the Sink Blow here. No effect.
We'll have go again.
Yeah.
Went for 3.
No blocks on the 3.
Okay. So down to 6.
Yep. Down
to 4. Yeah, I'll see Arsenal and pass to you.
Sure. I'll make a Seismic. Then play Command and Conquer for 6. 2 cards in hand.
Yeah, that's the worst possible card for Brendan to have there for us. I think it's the 3rd Command and Conquer, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I wasn't playing around that. I don't think I can at this stage. Yeah, really unfortunate.
You've had to almost effectively, like, you probably did play around it last turn to an extent, but you had to, like, 2 of these 3 Command and Conquers you had to effectively not play around the pummel, which is hard.
Yeah, I definitely can't be playing around this one.
I've been digging through my deck with these Sink Blows and the Fates and all this stuff. I've been digging.
So I can't play around pummel if I block with 1. Take the... Yeah, this is really going to hurt us. Because if I do play around it here, we throw 10 at it. It's not very good. It's not very good.
There's this classic pummel debacle. Like, let's say there's pummel. So if you just toss in front of pummel and they have no arsenal, they just arsenal the pummel, and there's like a value play off of that, right? And you just face it again. Yeah. Obviously, it's not a Command and Conquer, which is it's a hard one. CNC pummel is notorious for a reason.
I mean, the fact that he just took the 3 off raid and just it can't be anything other than pummel, really. This is just like a really weird play to try and like take 3 and show the pummel, which means that I'm just gonna have to assume, like I have to say basically that 99% is a pummel here. So I have a defense reaction arsenal, so this is the worst possible situation. I actually think we have to just block this out and let Brennan have a 5-card turn next turn, as terrible as it sounds for us. It at least allows us to try and play the game with a 3-card hand, possibly the turn after, because we also preserve our life total, which is really important, because we would also just die if we didn't play around it here. So I'm going to go ahead and block for 12. Brennan?
Yep, and I'll pass.
Yep. We could just block for 9 plus an equipment there, but 1 card does nothing for me here other than coming in with a Bolt of Courage for 1. So, yeah. I pass back on my turn off to Camp Tunic.
Sure. Seismic pops. I'll play Spinal Pitching. Spinal Pitching, Disable, and
now we got Brennan thinking. This is good.
Disable and Cranium. 1 floating.
1 floating, okay. 1 floating, 1 card in hand, 1 card in arsenal.
Yeah.
You didn't make the seismic, so presumably probably a red. So if we were to... And this is dominated. Very importantly.
No.
That's not dominated?
Nope.
Okay, right.
Be nice.
Definitely a red.
This would be nice. Oh man. Tight one.
Yeah, definitely. It's been a good game. Yeah, well, interesting. I'm on 4. Oof, this is going to be very tight, isn't it? Okay. I'm going to block with a Courageous and take Flight from hand and Skullcap and Races. So we're at 5 for 7. Yeah, we'll roll for 7.
So 7. 7, you're only going, so it has to be a Steel Blade Shunt. So if you shunt, then it's 13. 13, obviously, Xaxes, but we do get the pitch, and there's only one card in hand. Yeah, we'll pummel it.
Yeah, I think you've got to there. You can't not pummel it, right?
Yep.
So this is going to leave you with no... So I think I just have to hope that Brennan draws a kind of dud hand next turn and allows me to...
Pretty dud, because... Or you have to get another defense reaction, right?
Yeah, it's really interesting. I think I need to play this way. So yeah, we're going to pitch Ascension and play Soul Shield. So yeah, 13.
Yep. Sure.
Cool. But our equipment is done, apart from the tunic. Cool. Right, tick up tunic and Arsenal Pass.
Tick up tunic, Arsenal Pass. Okay.
Very unfortunate.
How very unfortunate. Create a seismic. Bravo.
Okay.
Just cranial for 8.
Okay, cranial.
You save one to a time. You can actually dodge. Yeah, I mean, oh man, it's actually really tight. I did hear an unfortunate on the other side of the board. So
no, this is actually fully reasonable for us, which is really nice. No blocks. Go to reactions. I will Soul Shield.
Yep.
Take
2.
Yep. That's me to 2.
Yep.
I'm just gonna stack this up. I have a bunch of cards. I have 7 in Soul. So.
Oof, did you draw Celestial?
Okay, we're going to Express Lightning, charging a Sink Below, coming in for 4.
Okay, Express Lightning, charging a Sink Below. Oh, my man does have Courageous in the deck.
Just looking through my grave for you, Brennan. I have 1 red on top here. And...
Every time Hayden does this, by the way, he doesn't have the card. If he tries to show you like what he has and like what the statistical likelihood of him having it, he never freaking has it.
Yeah, just one in grave, man. That's all. I don't. None else.
He's trying to bait me into playing around it. So 2 cards in hand, right?
1 card in hand. I wish 1 card.
Probably just snap. Raiden. I feel like his that card is it's definitely a defense reaction that he's got there. Courageous, can that be played on anything? Can it be played on the Raiden as well?
Yep. It's just if you charge this turn, target attack gets plus X. 1, 2, or 3. Blue, yellow, red.
Yeah, so he's just trying to rip my armor here by bluffing with his defense reaction. He's going to snap Raiden. It's funny because like I feel like I can play around it and I'll still lose a longer game. So what is that defense reaction though is the question. It's probably, I mean, knowing Hayden's luck, it's probably the shunt. Surely it's the shunt. Because his 2
So you've seen all my Sink Belows, 2 Sink and 1 Sink here. I've got
his last name is
2 Soul Shield, 1 Steel Blade Shunt here, red. And 1 blue Steel Blade Shunt here in the banish.
Do we want to play around it? 1, 2, 3. I mean, we can't play around. I mean, we can, but we can't. We can, but we can't. This is such a The Arsonist card doesn't help us at all.
A little nicer being on the other side of this as opposed to the walking around the pummel.
Oh. 3, walk for 1 on the 3. But then that feels so game losing.
Really important thing for us as well is that we're actually about to cycle back through our deck.
We're gonna blast all of our equipment here just to play around this. 3. So it just sucks being at 6, man. Yeah, tectonic plating plus pummel.
Looking for 4.
Yeah.
I wish you played around it. Okay. Snapdragons.
Yep.
Raiden for 3. What's left in your equipment? You have
1/1.
Yeah, so that plating's still on the chain.
Yeah. I'm not gonna block.
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
It's funny. It's just funny the way that Hayden's had that because I wish he played around it. Like he doesn't have it in his hand. It's still not threatening lethal. I legitimately do not think he has it in his hand. So I'm telling you that it's like a Haydenism to when he doesn't have it, he'll look through his graveyard and go.
It's not giving away all my tips.
Yeah, that is the biggest Haydenism ever. Anyway, it is basically strictly correct to block with Crater Fist here and dodge lethal if he does have it. I think, right? Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, there's no downside to it. I think, right? I assume.
Well, the downside is right, like some breakpoints like Bolt of Courage just come later that are
sure. You still have, I guess you still have the tectonic at that point, and there's probably this game's not going for two turns. Yeah. I'm gonna give go again to the red.
Yep.
And then we're gonna.
I'm taking 2 here.
Yeah, so you're down to 4.
Yep.
And then we're gonna tunic and come in with Valiant Thrust for 6. Yellow.
Okay.
I mean, a 13 damage turn, pretty reasonable. Off our 3 cards.
Yeah. Definitely very reasonable. Yeah. Block 6, take 1.
Yep, okay, so we get +1 and then so down to 3.
Yeah, we had the Dominated Spinal.
Oof, I'm glad that's gone. Your turn.
Yeah. Swing for 4, pitching Showtime.
4.
Question is can Bolton grind us out here? I'm honestly the thing I want to draw the most is my non-attack actions in case he doesn't have an inherent go again. Because I want to be able to not take in my armor. Is my tectonic plating is pretty nice right now. If he doesn't have an inherent go again, I can just cover up, go to 1, not play around the Courageous, and then win the game. But the Courageouses are really likely, which sucks. Coming in for 4.
Yeah. And is not great.
God, that's music to my ears.
That's pretty.
I was not expecting the depth of this game.
No, not at all.
Unexpected, yeah. It was Bolton versus Bravo, whatever. This is a serious endgame.
Yep, it definitely is.
Especially when I understand what is gone. Yeah, you're good. Oh, is this I think someone patented the Haydendale Bolton takebacks already, so they're gonna be getting royalties paid off this one. God, what if Hayden just has the courageous to threaten lethal, just now he's okay, I'm not gonna block this courageous. Oh, there we go. So consider blocking with 2 cards, ends up blocking with.
I guess there's no reason to block with Tunic, right? Just go to 1, make sure to keep your skull cap off. Yeah, I'll just make sure I go to 1, keep your skull cap off.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll pass. That was about 3 takebacks.
I got to patent it, That's a very interesting kind of turn. Okay. Yeah, this is... Yeah, okay, sure. We'll play Lumina from here. Oh, actually, sorry, this doesn't work, does it?
Oh, thank God. Oh, bro, we need like a soundboard where it dings every time we put something on the board and pick it back up.
I play.
Can you read it to me?
So,
Can you read it to me?
so until end of turn, weapons you control get +1, and if this hits, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a light card, put it into your hero soul and gain a life. Otherwise, put it on the bottom. And if I've charged this turn, I can attack with an additional time with the weapon. Each weapon you control this turn. So that effect's not happening.
Yeah, because you're not charging, right?
No, but we're gonna come with Raiden for 1.
Oh, Raiden for 1, no charge.
No charge.
So
That would require having a charge card in my hand.
And you can't give it go again if you haven't charged.
And I can't give it go again. Yeah, correct.
Cannot, right?
No, I cannot.
So it's like, do we just? And there's no on hit.
Sorry, no. I can give it go again with Bolton's ability because it has more than its base attack.
Sure.
The charge is getting +1 from your attack. Yeah, sorry.
So Lumina's just totally off, right?
So the first effect is active, so it has +1. And if it hits, I get to look at the top card, and if it's light, it goes into my soul.
It has
and again,
+1.
Yeah, so it's coming in for 1.
Yeah, I'm gonna block with Tectonic.
This is probably the funniest in-game sequence I've ever played, and Brendan's. I'm gonna play Beacon of Victory.
Oh my goodness!
And we'll banish all 7, and then if he has actually. So we haven't seen any. He'd have blue staunch response. He could get it to. That would go to 8 actually. But he could have. How many Sinks and Fates have you played?
Sorry, I'm actually just doing the Beacon of Victory. Math. 2-2.
2 and 2. Okay, so we just. He could. So this is already blocking for 1. He had a red. I can't play around both reds because I can only get it up to 8. So I think I have to banish all but 1. Gets it to.
Can you read Beacon of Victory to me?
Yeah, sorry. As additional cost to play Beacon of Victory, banish X cards from your hero's soul. X can't be 0. Target attack gains X. Attack.
Okay.
So if I go for...
And there's a search effect on it too?
Yeah, only if you've charged this turn.
Okay, only if you charge this turn.
So this is going to be... I can get it to 7. You have blue go 6. Still, you're on 3. So yeah, I just have to banish everything here. So it's going to 8 attack.
You got it.
Oof. Wow.
I've never seen that one. All right, so Beacon of Victory for 10 for plus what was it?
7.
Plus
yeah.
8. Yeah, plus 7. So yeah, something that I haven't seen before. Not something that I think I could have played around. I mean, like I literally could have played around it. That's correct. I could have put enough cards out of my hand onto the battlefield, which would have ultimately lost me the game almost 3,000%, considering Hayden had to be the Vanguard turn coming up.
Okay.
I also had Pummel for 10 if I kept 3 cards. And I wasn't very incentivized to actually block with a card there because he could have given it go again from the soul and then come in with some sort of 0 cost, and I couldn't have another card ripped from my hand. So the Tectonic was my most economical block. Like I said, I did have Pummel plus 3 blues in hand, so we had Pummel for 10. And yeah, I think I was... Yeah, I mean, if I played around, I would have lost. He had Tunic as well. So if I just swing my Anatos for 4, he just Tunic and then 1 card blocks and plays his 3 card hand, and then surely I have no armor as well. Just kind of runs me out of the game there.
Yeah.
What do you think? Just like a little cheeky smile.
I am a little bit. It's just such an interesting way to end the game, and why I was tanking that last turn was just working out if he has the blue defense reaction. Staunch response to get it to 8. What does that mean? It still takes 3 cards out of his hand, so we're still in a good spot. I actually think if I'd thought about that turn for a little bit longer, what I would have done was actually only pumped it to get above a red defense reaction. So I would have banished 5 cards, leaving 2 cards, which then allows me, if he still does have that blue defense reaction to stop me, he would still only have 1 card in hand, and then it needs to also be a blue for him to even be able to attack. If he can't attack at all, we have a 4 card hand, including V and Battlefield Blitz, and we would definitely be able to kill them. If not, then we get a 3-card hand where we get to be the Vanguard into a Raiden anyway for still taking Brendan's hand, and we still have this red Steel Blade Shunt in Arsenal. So yeah, just like a really interesting game. That was pitched, like it was a pitch order thing in terms of I didn't purposefully think I was going to win with a beacon of victory, obviously, but I did know we were coming back around to the V and the last Cataclysm, so I felt like we could have a really big turn as long as we stayed in the game, and that's part of the reason as well we kept that tunic around. You saw we actually got another resource off that tunic in the end, so yeah, just actually a really interesting game. Probably, I think one of the most interesting games I think we've played on camera, Brendan. Well, at least I hope it was. It was interesting for me. I hope it was interesting for everyone watching as well. I think there's a lot of decision points, and I hope we sort of talked through, that game plan I talked about at the start of the game, a more mid-range plan, trying to get some value, and then we cycle back through our decks. So we still had Luminas, we had Luminas, we had V's. So we still have some powerful cards to come back around to.
Yeah, it was interesting. That was definitely a lot tighter than I expected, and you won with a win condition that I did not expect. Which funny that that big soul kind of paid off like it did, because it's not something you see very often. I actually feel like when I play Boltons most of the time, the soul is quite minimal because they're using it from turn to turn to kind of have consistent pressure. So while you're on the back foot and you kind of kept soul shielding, it just built it up past what you had already had before. Which I think if you had like pre-planned like an ideal scenario, you would have been using that soul more, but it ended up being what won you the game.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I definitely knew I wanted to keep some because I knew I had the one Celestial Cataclysm to come back. But like it's that amount. I definitely didn't plan on having that amount in there. I wanted enough for like to push a Lumina, and plus enough to push a Cataclysm. But that was obviously a bit more than probably I wanted to have. But in the end, definitely can't complain. Mm-hmm. So yeah, some really interesting points in that game. I think that I could easily go back to that game and probably pick up on a lot of plays I think I could have definitely done better. But yeah, some really interesting points, and good game overall, Brendan. Very close game.
Yeah, for sure. So laid out here, I do have my sideboard plan. I do have a 42 card main deck, and the rest is kind of sided in accordingly. So basically what we are setting in, the main thing here is going to be Hand Disruption. Rouse the Ancients is honestly like the worst card in our deck in this matchup most of the time, unless you're able to get an Arsenal early before they kind of start going off, because it is a blue that blocks for 2, and it's an attack action, but we don't have any other blues kind of like in our deck to supplement that with that are going to be effective, and you can still play out the cards, be real, and Hammer for 6, it helps do that. So you have the Sink Below, Fade for Scenes, you saw that come in pretty nicely there. We could have subbed 3 of these out for Zealous Beltings if we wanted to. But considering that we're already bringing in 3 of another defense reaction and 3 pummels, our Zealous Beltings actually get a little bit worse because they're harder to turn on, which is just, kind of, you see that point push a little bit, as well as Rouse. So Rouse is also, I think, like I talked about, it's like the worst card in our deck here. We have 2 Immovable, 2 Staunch. We saw all of these during the game. Funny enough, it would have actually took us out of that scenario, but these cards are quite bad, usually against Bolton, because we're going to be, it was funny because Hayden being able to win that game was actually pretty impressive, because we were in a very demanding position in very much the mid game to like the mid to late game. We almost had a seismic every single turn. We were playing 5 card hands like almost every single turn. So we were definitely in a demanding position. But this is the sideboard, and if you want more information about this deck and its its specific sideboard plans, theory, numbers, all that good stuff, we have done a detailed kind of deck guide, sideboard guide, pretty much a tell-all on this deck on our Patreon. So check that out if you're interested. And yeah, that was just a lot, way more interesting than I was expecting, to say the least.
Agree. Glad we played that game. All right. Well, we'll drop the link for the Patreon down in the description as well if you do want that, and otherwise we'll see you on our next gameplay video. Thanks, everyone.